People always ask how I survived the betrayal. They assume I cried for months, that I begged, that I collapsed. The truth is much worse. I stayed, I watched, and I learned exactly how two people who loved power more than loyalty could be made to turn on each other. My name is Emily Carter. I used to believe being kind was a strength, that loyalty protected you, that love, when given honestly, came back the same way. I was wrong. I worked as a corporate planner, the invisible kind of job where you make everything run smoothly and get none of the credit. I liked it that way. Order made me feel safe. I married Daniel Carter at 27. He was confident in the way men are when they're used to being admired. Finance background, fast promotions, a smile that made people assume he was trustworthy. And then there was Sophia Miller, my best friend since college. She helped me choose my wedding dress, held my hand while I cried before walking down the aisle, promised she'd always protect me. She meant it, just not from herself. The first year of marriage was fine. Not passionate, not magical, just fine. Daniel worked long hours. I adjusted my schedule around his. I cooked dinners he often missed. I listened to his complaints about colleagues I never met. I didn't notice when my needs stopped mattering. It happened quietly. He stopped asking my opinion, stopped thanking me, started correcting me. You worry too much. You're too sensitive. You should be grateful I provide stability. Sophia was always there to smooth things over. Men change after marriage, she'd say. He still loves you. I believed her. That was mistake number 2. When Daniel got promoted, we celebrated. Or rather, I celebrated him. I organized the dinner, bought the gift, listened to his speech rehearsals at midnight. Sophia came over more often after that. She brought wine, compliments, sympathy. You do so much for him, she'd say. I don't know how you handle it. At the time, it felt comforting. Now I know it was data collection. There are always signs. You just explain them away when you love people. Sophia started texting Daniel directly. Daniel stopped locking his phone, like he didn't care anymore. Once, I walked into the kitchen and found them whispering. They jumped apart. I laughed it off. I startled you? Sophia smiled too quickly. We were just talking about you. Daniel nodded. She worries about you too much, he said. That sentence should have terrified me. Instead, I apologized. I came home early that night. I hadn't told anyone. The apartment lights were dim. Shoes by the door, not just Daniel's. I didn't rush. Something inside me slowed down. I heard laughter. Soft, familiar, comfortable. From my bedroom. I stood there for a full minute before opening the door. They didn't even try to hide. Sophia froze. Daniel sighed, as if I were an inconvenience. This isn't what it looks like, Sophia said, already crying. Daniel rubbed his face. You weren't supposed to find out this way. That sentence rewired something in my brain. Not, I'm sorry, not, I messed up, just inconvenience. They didn't beg. They negotiated. Sophia blamed loneliness. Daniel blamed stress. Both blamed me. You stopped trying, Daniel said. You were always tired, Sophia added. I sat on the edge of my bed, listening, oddly calm. I realized something terrifying. They had rehearsed this. They were prepared. People ask why I didn't walk out. Here's the truth. I wanted to understand them. I wanted to see how far they would go if they thought I was broken. So I stayed. I cried. I forgave. I pretended I believed every lie. And they relaxed. That was their third mistake. They didn't stop. They just hid less. Sophia still came over. Daniel still stayed late. I became the background noise in my own life. And in that silence, I started planning. Quietly. I bought a notebook. Plain, black, unremarkable. I wrote down dates, times, excuses, who left first, who lied better. Patterns emerged. Daniel lied when money was involved. Sophia lied when emotions were. Together, they were careless. One night, Sophia hugged me goodbye. "You're so strong," she said. I smiled and thought, "You have no idea." After that night, something inside me went quiet. Not numb, not broken, clear. I stopped asking why. I started asking how. How long had it been going on? How much did they lie, and to whom? What did they want from each other that they couldn't get from me? I realized something important very early. Daniel and Sophia weren't in love. They were using each other. And people like that always leave fingerprints. I became exactly who they expected. Weak, forgiving, exhausted. I cried in front of Daniel. I apologized to Sophia for misunderstanding. That apology changed everything. Because once they believed I'd accepted the betrayal, they stopped being careful. Sophia started staying longer. Daniel stopped deleting messages. They talked around me, not to me. And I listened. Sophia didn't want Daniel. She wanted my life, my marriage, my stability, my status. She loved reminding me of it too, subtly. "You're lucky," she'd say. "Some women would kill for a husband like yours." Her eyes lingered too long when Daniel entered the room. Sophia wasn't stealing my husband. She was auditioning to replace me. Daniel, on the other hand, didn't want a new wife. He wanted control without responsibility. Sophia listened to him, admired him, never asked him to change. I had expectations. That was my crime. He told her things he never told me, about work, about money, about his frustrations, and Sophia fed his ego exactly the way he needed. They were dangerous together, but fragile. I started small. One evening I mentioned casually, "Daniel was so stressed about money lately." Sophia stiffened. "Money?" she asked. "He never said anything." I shrugged. "He worries about providing. He hates talking about it." That was the first seed, because Daniel had told Sophia he was financially secure. Men like Daniel. A week later, I said something to Daniel. "Sophia mentioned you might leave the company soon." He looked at me sharply. "What?" "Oh, maybe I misunderstood," I said softly. "She was talking about ambition." That was the second seed. Now they were both wondering what the other was saying behind their backs. Here's the thing. I never invented anything. I just rearranged truths. That's the cleanest kind of manipulation. Daniel trusted me with paperwork. That was his mistake. I handled bills, emails, documents. I noticed things. Withdrawals he never explained, expenses that didn't match his stories. Sophia didn't know he was financially stretched. She thought she was upgrading. I made sure that illusion cracked. She became quieter, sharper. One day she asked, "Are you sure Daniel's promotion went through?" I smiled. "That's what he told us." Us. That word stayed with her. Daniel noticed the shift before Sophia did. She questioned him, pressed him. He came home irritated. "She's getting demanding," he said. "Too curious." I listened like a loyal wife and said nothing. This was my turning point. I quietly contacted someone from my old network. not to get a job, to get options. Because revenge without independence is just noise. I started rebuilding myself, silently. Affairs survive on fantasy. Reality kills them. Sophia wanted promises. Daniel wanted escape. They stopped aligning. Sophia wanted more. Daniel wanted less responsibility. Perfect. One night I overheard them arguing, not loudly, desperately. Sophia, you said you'd leave her. Daniel, you knew I couldn't just do that. There it was. The lie they'd both believed. I didn't confront. I encouraged. To Daniel, I said, you deserve someone who supports your ambition. To Sophia, I said, you shouldn't settle for half love. And then I stepped back. They fought more. About time, about money, about expectations, and slowly they turned on each other. Exactly as people do when the thrill disappears. They thought I was surviving. I was positioning. They thought I was scared to leave. I was preparing to win cleanly. By the time Daniel realized I wasn't begging anymore, by the time Sophia realized she wasn't replacing me, it was already too late, because I had something neither of them did. There's a moment in every revenge story where pretending becomes unnecessary. Mine came on an ordinary Tuesday. Daniel came home late again, tie loose, phone face down. Sophia's name flashed on his screen when he thought I wasn't looking. I didn't confront him. I smiled. That smile scared him more than any argument ever had. While Daniel was busy managing his lies, I was managing facts. I had copies of everything. Emails, bank statements, calendar invites that didn't match his stories, messages he forgot to delete once he got careless. Sophia thought she was special. She didn't realize she was traceable. People ask why I didn't expose them immediately. Because exposure without timing is just noise. I waited for leverage. Daniel's company was preparing for a major internal audit. Promotions were being reconsidered. Reputations mattered. Very much. Sophia grew impatient. She wanted Daniel to leave me. She wanted my apartment, my routine, my title. Wife. So she pushed him. And he panicked. Because men like Daniel don't leave marriages. They replace comfort slowly. Sophia didn't understand that. One night, Daniel snapped. "She's threatening me," he said, "saying she'll tell you everything." I looked at him calmly. "Is there something I should know?" He froze. In that silence, he realized I already knew. I sent one email. Not emotional, not dramatic, professional. To Daniel's HR department. I didn't accuse, I asked for clarification. Attached documentation. Affairs between employees. Conflict of interest. Financial inconsistencies. I CC'd my lawyer. Then I went to sleep. The next morning, Daniel didn't go to work. His phone kept ringing. Sophia texted me. "What did you do?" I didn't reply. She came over uninvited. For the first time, she looked small. "He said you were done," she cried. "He said you didn't care." I tilted my head. "And you believed him?" That was the moment she understood. She was never chosen. She was convenient. The divorce was quick. Not because it was easy, but because Daniel had no ground to stand on. Infidelity, financial deception, professional misconduct. I didn't fight dirty. I fought prepared. Daniel tried once more. "I never meant to hurt you." I looked at him. Really looked. "You didn't think about me at all," I said. That was the problem. He had no response. Sophia lost more than a friendship. She lost credibility. People stopped trusting her stories, her tears, because when the truth came out, it was clear who she'd been. Not a victim, a participant. I moved into a new place. Quiet, bright, mine. I took a better job, on my terms. I stopped apologizing for taking up space. Revenge isn't about destruction. It's about detachment. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I let the truth do what it always does when you give it time. They thought I was weak because I was kind. They thought my silence meant surrender. But silence was never weakness. It was patience. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't chase people who already decided to betray me. I simply waited and let the truth do what it always does when you stop protecting liars. And when I finally walked away, they were left with nothing but the consequences of their own choices. If this story made you feel something, anger, sadness, or strength, you're not alone. These betrayals don't happen only in dramas. They happen in real life behind closed doors every single day. Like this video so more people hear stories like this. Subscribe to the channel for powerful revenge, betrayal, and justice stories told from a woman's point of view. Because silence protects the wrong people, and some stories deserve